Forever CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, was sent out in a hurry and a hustle by the Disney board 9 months early. What's going on? Today we'll tell you why the Mousy Messiah had to leave and leave immediately. Josh tomorrow, Dana Walden taking over. But Wall Street, not necessarily impressed. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel that gives you our best every single day. We never rest until the entertainment news is brought to you in a truthful way. As we dive in, click the like button, drop a comment down below. And here we go with the latest out of Disney. Bob Iger let go in a hurry. But what's behind the hustle? Bob Iger is out of there. At least he will be real soon. And the board rushing to make that news, well, available. From CNBC, Disney names parks boss Josh tomorrow as its next CEO to succeed Bob Iger, effective March 18th. Now, this is huge because Bob Iger was supposed to stay on all the way through December. Last week, Bob Iger came out and said, hey, I might leave a little early. And by early, we didn't know he meant within the month, because that's what we're looking at, folks. A little over 1 month from when Bob Iger started saying, you know, I might leave a little early. He's gone. He's out of there. He's done for. Goodbye, Bobby. And guess what else? The board that was supposed to meet on Tuesday and Wednesday, that same board apparently made the decision on Monday, because otherwise, how would Dana Walden and Josh tomorrow have accepted the contract offers? Big news here. Let's go down to the article and read a little bit of it. It says, Disney has named Josh tomorrow chairman of Disney Experiences as its next CEO, succeeding Bob Iger and clinching a closely watched succession race at the Mouse House. Investors, industry insiders, and onlookers have long awaited the announcement of who will take over as next leader of one of the most storied U.S. companies. The appointment marks the second time in 6 years that Disney has selected a successor to Iger. His previous pick and parks boss, Bob Chapek, devolved into a public spectacle of corporate governance that saw Iger reclaim the CEO spot and restart the clock on retirement, which I think is a very generous way of saying that Bob Iger sabotaged the last person who took over and came back in. Here's the quote from Bob Iger. Josh tomorrow is an exceptional leader and the right person to become our next CEO. He has an instinctive appreciation of the Disney brand and a deep understanding of what resonates with our audiences, paired with the rigor and attention to detail required to deliver some of our most ambitious projects. His ability to combine creativity with operational excellence is exemplary, and I am thrilled for Josh and the company. Now, you'll notice discussion here of James Gorman. James Gorman, former Morgan Stanley guy, put in by Wall Street to make sure this time the change sticks. Gorman essentially making the decision. However, ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. That Park Place is covering this in the right way. Dana Walden is not only the new chief creative officer, but she's the president now of Disney.
A female president?
What? Hello, glass ceiling. So we've got this happening. It's happening rapidly. Marvin, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on just how quickly the board, because Bob Iger, on the day that we had the earnings report, Bob Iger gave no indication that he was leaving. There was none. No. And the next day, as the stock was dropping, tossed out, goodbye, Bob.
Yeah, I think that, maybe some other things that happened in the news surrounding Bob Iger may have facilitated his exit, though I have two theories. One is that. The other is that this was actually voluntary. That we've been hearing for a while that Bob wanted out because he was sick of everything. He was sick of the Jimmy Kimmel things particular. But also, take a look at it. He was supposed to leave in December. Look at the rest of the theatrical slate Disney has between now and September. The biggest thing they've got on the docket, and I've just frozen a stupid way, is Avengers Doomsday. And we're all seeing that there's not a whole ton of interest in Avengers Doomsday. So what if he decided he wanted to go out on a high note, go out on Zootopia 2 and Avatar, and all of a sudden just say, okay, guys, Avengers Doomsday is your problem now.
Yeah, and Mando and Grogu is your problem now.
Yep, all you. That's all on. And by the way, now, because Dana Walden is the chief creative officer, means all things creative, movies, TV, everything goes through her. That means you can blame her when a movie bombs, when a new movie comes out and it is no good, when it leans into ideology. You can't make the Kathleen Kennedy thing where it's like, well, how involved in creative is she really? She is the chief creative officer of the Walt Disney Company. So from now on, creative decisions, the buck stops at Dana Walden for that.
Right, right. So that needs to be emphasized. In a company where Bob Iger takes credit for everything, his co-chairs of Disney Entertainment mean that there have been situations that we heard from Dial of Destiny that the Dana Walden people were blaming the marketing people for Dial of Destiny, and the Alan Bergman people were blaming Kathleen Kennedy for offering a lackluster product because the reviews are great or some mess like that. The fact that no one talks about that movie except to rag on it at this point, I think that makes it pretty clear quality of that film. So you have a situation in which you have two people running a department, you have no one running a department.
Well, let's talk about the downgrade here, because Bob Iger tossed out very quickly and on a downtime, right? He doesn't get to leave on a high. He's just sent packing. And that's why I don't think it's his decision. I think Bob would like to have, he'd like to have a hurrah, a huzzah, something. Same thing with Kathleen Kennedy.
You don't think the stockholders meeting is going to be that?
It could be, but there's still nothing. I mean, what, we got the Hopper movie coming out? There's nothing that's going to get people excited to say, Bob, you did it, Bob, you left on the high note. So here's the downgrade. Jonas, back to you for just a minute. John Lasseter was the chief creative officer for what, a decade?
Yeah. As 2007 to 2018.
John Lasseter versus Dana Walden. How's this company doing, Jonas?
Let's see. John Lasseter versus so 2018. They would have still had a few movies in the pipeline, like an Encanto, and there seems to be a decline in the quality of original IPs and the decline in the quality of everything across the board. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Lasseter stuff.
That's why I don't. This company's in trouble. This company is in real trouble. Josh D'Amaro's fine. Maybe. Depends on how much Wall Street's going to control the man. But Dana Walden, I don't think is controllable. And Dana Walden, as the president of the company now, Dana Walden being in that spot, she is extraordinarily political. And I don't sense that she's creative. She's not even Disney. She's a Fox gal. And I'm talking about Fox News. I'm talking about she was brought in from Fox, the company, when it was acquired. And she hasn't done anything of any success that I can tell. Maybe Hulu? I don't know. I don't know what you give her.
Looking at this, I think that Bob Iger has been an ABC executive for this entire run here. I don't think he actually understands the Disney brand. I think he understands how to position himself as the guy who understands the Disney brand to Wall Street investors and things like that. Looking at what happened in 1990 with the Capital Cities purchase, he came into the company, and by 2005, he went from TV executive to chief creative officer of the entire company, and that Lasseter infusion really made Bob Iger look good by extension. And then after Lasseter's gone, all of a sudden we start having these issues on the creative side, also happening to coincide with the decline of Marvel. There wasn't much to be said about Lucasfilm. That was kind of off the rails from the moment that it started. Everyone wanted to show up for that first one, and then it was just a slow fizzle from there. Bob Iger has one move, and that's buying another company. And eventually they took away the credit card, and he couldn't do that again. He's never been good at selecting a successor. This is Josh D'Amaro and Dana Walden are, I guess they're the inevitable end to a line of people like Kevin Mayer, Jay Rasulo, Staggs, that was so critical to parks for a long period of time. Obviously, the less said about Bob Chapek, the more we can save time. This has been something where Bob Iger, the only thing that Bob Iger is good at doing is getting press for Bob Iger. And at this point, Josh D'Amaro was selected because he's not going to move the stock price that much, because people will see it as more of the same. All of the people who don't understand how this company should run from a creative standpoint will see Josh D'Amaro as more of the same. Dana Walden being in that position, she's going to check some boxes for people who want to have a good time at a cocktail party and not actually worry about the entertainment they're not watching while they scroll their phones. This is just going to be a decade of pink slop entertainment. I don't see anything true or honest or commenting on the universal condition that's going to come out of this company. I don't want to say it's the end of the company, but it's the end of anything important coming from this company.
But let's go into conspiracy for a minute. Ron, Marv, you guys run with this one if you'd like. It's really spicy, but we just did the report on Bob Iger's name showing up in the DOJ filings that came out about the island. Oh, you know the island? Yeah, it's that island. Jeffrey the giraffe? No, not a giraffe. Bob Iger's name shows up, and within 72 hours, the board kicks him out of there, gives us an end date for Bob. Maybe it's coincidental, but boy, oh boy, what a strange series of events there. What do you guys think about it? Any chance the board said, and maybe there's just something we don't know that's happening behind the scenes, but man, they got in a hurry to get Bob out of the mousy Messiah seat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's his time to go anyway. Like, let's just say that he was on the way out, and maybe this was just something that where they're like, okay, you know what? That was a good time. Kathleen Kennedy just exited. You just walked off into the sunset in Dubai, and you had your nice, little picture, little photo moment, right?
That was his Walt Disney moment to go walk on land he doesn't own, that Disney doesn't own, and that it's a theme park, somebody else's theme park that he's going to license to. Good grief.
But my thought is Dana Walden. I think she was picked to elevate the position she's in to be the chief creative officer, to satisfy the Hollywood cult. I don't know what's the better word for it. Is there a better word than cult?
No, that's the Hollywood, the trade agencies. They've already threatened to boycott Disney over Jimmy Kimmel. They couldn't let go of Dana Walden, I bet.
On the other hand, Josh D'Amaro, here's the thing about his pick. He has a choice. He can either run with the status quo and do exactly what people probably think that he was picked for, or he can do something completely different after, I guess, March 18th or whenever it is. And I know Bob Iger is going to want to lurk in the shadows. I know he's going to want access to his 2 showers and all of that. But Josh D'Amaro could, in fact, take the reins and say, you know what? We are actually going to listen to the fans of this company when it comes to especially the parks. And even, I don't know how much he can do creatively on the Hollywood side, but at least with the parks, he could say, look, we're going to start listening to our fans. We're going to do what they want. And
Ron, you're aware that this is the guy that
I know
signed off on the Rivers of America.
I know. I'm saying I'm not saying he's going to. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm saying it would be like, okay, has he been keeping himself under the radar this whole time so that he could do this, or has he literally been just the status quo guy? It's his choice, but I'm saying, it looks like the status quo. Absolutely.
This is the perfect debate. Marv, I'll give you the final word. But what you guys are discussing, this is perfect, because what we don't know yet is, who will Josh D'Amaro be? Was Josh D'Amaro doing what Bob Iger told him, and thus the parks are in the worst spot they've ever been? Or what were these decisions Josh D'Amaro made, and is he going to squeeze the company for every single bit of drip that it can get out of its consumers and thus destroy the thing? We don't know, Marv, but I'll give you the final word.
This is Josh D'Amaro, because Bob Iger has been the CEO of the Disney company for 20 years. And for some of those years, those parks were actually pretty good. Josh D'Amaro took over at a time when the parks sped into the ground. Josh D'Amaro is the guy that went out there and announced the Monsters Incorporated coaster, knowing full well where it was going, and not actually saying it out loud because he didn't want to get booed off stage. And then all of a sudden this week, there have been all these reports, like World of Real was like, Josh D'Amaro wants more Muppets in the parks. I'm like, well, then he should have left the Muppets that were there.
What a good point.
I'm also going to point out on that earnings call, Bob Iger very clearly said that in 2005, when he got into that position, the parks business was not pulling its weight from a financial standpoint. So Bob Iger wanted those parks to be a money-making engine for the company. And that's what he got. And now what we have is because Bob Iger wanted it to be that way. And Josh D'Amaro and Bob Chapek were the guys to do that for him. So the parks are never going back to the Disney of the 90s. They're never going back to that.
So the only thing that I would say that Josh D'Amaro has over Bob Iger is he's more personable. I've heard he's a very pleasant person. I've heard I've heard he talks to guests in the park sometimes. He's picking up trash when he's there. I've heard that he is he's more of that Michael Eisner kind of CEO, I think, who wants to be the one in front of the camera introducing the wonderful world of Disney. We saw it in what do you call it? When you go to the resorts now, you turn your TV on, the first thing you see is Josh D'Amaro. It could be a little bit too much. We might end up getting like a James Gunn situation, but I think I have missed having a Disney CEO that is also a showman.
Well, we'll see what happens, folks. Right now, Josh D'Amaro is in a very uncomfortable position. Dana Walden, as his creative officer, is no John Lasseter. I don't care what you think about her politics. If you're looking for somebody to lead and make great new stuff that will send people to your parks and send people to the theaters, you could not be saddled with a worse poison pill from Bob Iger and his wife than perhaps Dana Walden. And that's what Josh D'Amaro's got to run with. That's what we'll cover, folks. Can he overcome it? Can he become a new man? Can he lead this company in a way that he didn't at the parks? Well, folks, that's why we'll pay attention and tell you as it plays out over the next year. Put this baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated, anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that. And we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.